Okay, hello, my friends. My name is Darren Gerdes. It is Saturday, January 4th, 2025, and this is the daily brief. There are 1,510 Russian casualties day over day. Now, a couple months ago, I would have thought that's a high number, and that doesn't feel like a high number anymore. But that's just where we are. 1,510 Russian casualties, 2 tanks, 23 armored fighting vehicles, 23 artillery systems, 73 vehicles and fuel tanks, and they've added the extra helicopter. I think this is the one that the second one that the seaborne drone shot down. They're accounting for that now. Okay, so let's look at this. Daily losses. If you 1,500 is kind of a normal daily loss figure here in 2024, and it's been as high as 2,200. But back in 2022, it was like at 200 as an average. I mean, it's amazing how that has gone up and up and up. Okay, this is Andrew Perpetua's list from the 2nd. Today is the 4th. I'll show you the 2nd and the 3rd. So it's about 5-1 on the 2nd, and then on the 3rd, it's a little bit better than 1-1 losses of vehicles and artillery systems and things along those lines. Okay, overnight, Russia launched Shahed drones into Ukraine. Out of 81, 34 were shot down by regular air defense, 47 suppressed by electronic warfare. So pretty much nothing there. The interesting thing here is that we're back to seeing 60 or 80 or something along those lines, where it was down for a little bit. And I'm not sure exactly how to account for that. I guess it's a little bit of both between the factory being hit and saving up for a rainy day. Okay, drone attacks were reported in Zhytomyr region and Brovary on the outskirts of the city of Kyiv, where the mayor said the city's air defense had been activated. I'm not seeing anything about, big damage or casualties or that sort of thing. And based on what was suppressed and shot down, I wouldn't expect to. Now, the Ukrainians are striking back in a significant way, and this is the big story today. This morning, Ukrainian attack drones successfully penetrated over 800 kilometers of Russian airspace and struck Russia's Ust-Luga gas export terminal on the Baltic coast. At least one drone hit the plant's refining unit. Okay, so this is a picture of it, and you see it. There's a video that shows when it actually happened. I'm not showing the video, but that's not the sun. That's the Ukrainians getting through. Okay, the Ust-Luga sea trade port, the facility is of strategic importance to Russia, as it ensures the transportation of goods through the Baltic Sea. Previously, all flights to the local airport were stopped for several hours because of this as well. And some more commentary: without Russian oil infrastructure, there's no oil revenue. Without oil revenue, the wars, the occupation, and Russia's constantly expanding web of global tea are over. But I think that's a little bit of an overstatement. Restricting the oil and gas revenue will certainly tamp things down, make it more difficult, but I don't know that that makes it over in and of itself. I think there's going to be more to that story, just because the Russian mentality has to change before things are over. Okay, here's the location of it. This is just to give you a sense of where it is or what it looks like. So now this is not what you see here, this burn stuff. It was hit about a year ago. I'm trying to remember when. It's just about a year ago, and then it took like weeks or months to come back up to snuff. So this burning, don't assume that that's today. And then this is where it is. Now it's located in the Black Sea, and essentially the Black Sea is like a NATO island. I mean, it's surrounded by NATO countries except for Russia, and this is Russia's only outlet through. Estonia's over here, Finland, Sweden, Latvia, Lithuania. Then there's a little Russia here, Poland, and right. So Russia's kind of surrounded by NATO there, and if they could hit, I'm surprised that they haven't hit this sooner, because by knocking out whatever they can use to export in St. Petersburg, that would have a significant dampening effect. But of course, I'm sure there's air defense around St. Petersburg. The Russians aren't stupid. However much you might not like them, you can't just assume that they're stupid. Okay, overnight, UAVs also struck the Avangard plant in Smolensk Oblast, part of one of Russia's largest missile building holdings. The facility produces launch containers and solid fuel rocket engine casing. So, okay, another good hit apparently, but I don't know much more than that. Okay, now Ukraine's about to receive its first batch of French Mirage 2000 SF or 5F fighters this month. The first three aircraft are expected to be delivered by January 20th, 2025. Some sources claim that they're already in Ukraine, but are currently only used for training flights. The Mirage 2005F is the European fighter delivered to Ukraine. First European fighter. The American F-16 is already there, as you know, and they're going to get about 10 of these Mirages. Now, 10's not a lot, but 10's 10 better than what they had before. So, yeah, they're on their way, and I think they'll be a useful, productive asset once they get there. Now, saw this and I thought, yeah, you know, this explains a lot of why things happen the way that they have from the United States slow walking. U.S. concerned about possible use of nuclear weapons by Russia. According to Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State said that U.S. intelligence had information that Putin was considering a nuclear scenario. According to him, China could have influenced Russia's deterrence on this issue. Quote, "We have reason to believe that China reached out to Russia and said, 'Don't even think about it,'" Blinken said. But neither Russia nor China have officially confirmed such a dialogue. But again, the Biden administration was freaked out about this scenario and was trying to say, okay, we don't want to push him. We don't want to push him. We want to give Ukraine stuff, but we don't want to push him. So it's not, the administration's posture has not been, what will it take to help you win? But how can we just give you enough to keep you from failing while keeping nuclear war from happening? That's the way that they have conceived of their project in Ukraine. Okay, a group of Russian forces attempt to storm Ukrainian positions on bikes. I'm just showing you, I can't understand how on quad bikes you'd be going out into the battlefield, but yes, they are. This seems absolutely bizarre to my mind that they'd be doing this. And I'm not going to show you anything blowing up or anything, but just showing you, like, these guys are actually on quad bikes. It's ridiculously bad as far as an attack strategy, especially not just with armored vehicles out there, but with drones all around you as well. Okay, speaking of drones, you're seeing this from the perspective of a drone. This is a Russian T-80BVM tank with infantry riding on top, falls into a crater left by a bomb. So he's just riding along, and he's a tank, so I guess he thinks he should be able to go over this. But now, there's a problem here, because as he gets stuck, this is being watched by a drone. Like, that's where we're getting this video from. So the drone's able to come on and do whatever drones do, and we'll see. We're not going to see that. Okay. Now, the horizon belongs to those who defend it. I think that this is right. Drones they're just powerful here. This is an anti-drone net launcher. It can work against radio-controlled and fiber optic controlled drones. It can added to vehicles or used by the infantry. So you pop this onto the bottom of the drone, it goes off. And I've shown you videos of the drone nets going off. You get above the guy and then drop it down. Now, it says it can be used against radio-controlled and fiber optic. Now, electronic warfare means don't work against fiber optic. And that's part of what the package is here. Danielle is a specialized in ammunition production and FPV drone analysis and a process engineer, right? So I've been reading a lot about wire-guided FPV drones, and despite I share my concern about their increased effectiveness, I share my concern about their effectiveness due to their physical strength, but I'm also quite optimistic about their future. So she's going to talk about a little bit about this. Like, this is a chart of the drones being put out. The blue line, weirdly, the blue line is Ukraine, and the yellow line, why wouldn't you just use red all the way through, is Russia. And the blue line is Ukraine, and the red line is Russia. This is the drones being deployed out into, like, observed and deployed drones. And Ukraine is really getting these drones out in a significant way and being able to have an effect against Russia. Okay, the evidence is clear on how the Ukrainian army deployed their mechanized forces in the Kursk operation. Now, what's interesting about that was, like, how did they get out there and take all this ground, and where were the Russian drones? Okay, well, it's easy to see the pervasive presence of both electronic warfare systems and physical protections. So when Ukraine went into Kursk, they had all kinds of electronic warfare gear to be able to kind of give themselves a protective bubble against drone attacks. And that's why they had the issues that the Russians had the issues that they had trying to stop Ukraine, because it wasn't just fighting on the ground. Their drones were essentially neutered. They couldn't do what they're but fiber optic actually allows them to fight without having to worry about the drone defense. Okay, one major issue with this FPV, this fiber optic FPV drone, is its significantly reduced mobility. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing depending on how you're using this. So if you're just keeping it close to kind of see what's going around you, like the kind of reconnaissance drones that we were trying to provide, that's different than if you're trying to attack long range into something. Okay, what you can clearly see is much slower speed, larger radius of curvature during maneuvers, and a smoother ride. This is mainly due to the necessity of unfolding the spool, because they're attached to a fiber optic cable, unfolding the spool without snapping the cable and ensuring that there is no tension in the fiber at any time. I consider this a major downside, but like, look at the clear picture from a fiber optic drone. Like, you can see things that you otherwise, I mean, like, it's good, and it's also not subject to electronic warfare. Okay, this is the size of the fiber optic cable in somebody's hands, just to give you a sense of what that is. And I tell you all this for a reason here. Now, we know that we did this campaign and $147,000 worth of drones, and it's about 105 now fiber optic drones. It was going to be 120 other drones, or 120 something other drones, and they asked for these fiber optic ones instead. So the campaign is over. Thank you to the 12,000 some odd of you that donated. But I just saw this by Zelensky saying this today. Drones have become one of the most important tools in the fight against the occupier, both on the front lines and behind enemy lines. Drones have already changed the course of the war. I believe that that's true. They save lives of our people and compensate for the shortage of other weapons. That's right. They're using that masterfully to make up some differences between the strengths of the two armies, including artillery, enabling us to defend ourselves and destroy the occupiers. I thank each and every person who works to ensure that Ukraine has the advantage in drones. That includes you, those 1,270 of you that gave to this campaign. You're included in that. I'm grateful to those who produce and supply them, and to those who train others and seek new technical solutions and develop our army. We will continue to scale up our efforts in this area so that technology can help our country achieve its goals. So just saw that. I thought, given what we have just done over the last few days, it was worth talking about. Okay, I also put this video out yesterday, the easiest thing that you can do to support Ukraine, because I launched another campaign, but this is a passive campaign. So if you watch that, what you'll see is I'm talking about St. Javelin. Now, I'm wearing a St. Javelin shirt here. This is the patch on the shirt. I've bought my own St. Javelin hats before, or another St. Javelin shirt. And so I'm a fan of St. Javelin already. I worked with them to create a brand deal, except I'm not getting the money. That money's going to humanitarian aid for those in Ukraine. And if you look on any video going forward, you'll see this: buy something to show your support for Ukraine. And there's a specific link there that will go to St. Javelin. And if you buy something there, it'll buy tourniquets and bandages and other things along those lines to aid Ukraine. So that's all that I have today, my friends. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the likes and the shares and the subscribes. And thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.